10 o'clock, ready to go. May I have your attention, please? Thank you so very much for being here. For many, many years, we have worked with the media in order to be able to send our message to the general public. This is a very sober and serious day. The Kootenai County Task Force on Human Relations for 43 years has been holding such conferences as this one to tell the people who we really are and to reject hate. And that's what we're here for today. Before I read the formal statement from the task force, I want to make it clear that the information provided here and presented at the press conference was not obtained from any law enforcement agency or source or any university that's involved with this tragic event. Our information came from a very reliable third source or party. I want to, first of all, thank the members of the task force who are here today. As we hold this press conference, we're very, very pleased to have associated with us the city of Coeur d'Alene and the mayor and the city council. And we also are equally pleased for our long relationship that we've had with Hagedorn Hospitalities in dealing with diversity conference this year. And I'll say more of that when he speaks. There'll be 3 speakers today. I will start with the task force, and then our mayor of Coeur d'Alene, Jim Hammond, will speak, and then third, we will have the manager of the Coeur d'Alene Resort, Bill Regan, to speak, and that following those 3 presentations, we'll be open for questions. On behalf of the Kootenai County Task Force on Human Relations, we have prepared the following formal statement. Last week, 2 women's basketball teams participating in the regional NCAA women's tournament in Spokane were staying at the Coeur d'Alene Resort in our beautiful city. On Thursday, March the 21st, 2 teams were walking to dinner at a local restaurant here in Coeur d'Alene when they were encountered by a truck displaying a Confederate flag as the driver began spewing appalling racial slurs at them, also using the N-word. As the players left the restaurant after dinner, the same perpetrator, now reinforced by others, began again these racist rants toward these innocent victims, following the women back to the Coeur d'Alene Resort, continuing the racial slurs while revving their engines, which we believe was a serious threat to the safety of those students. The players were so traumatized by this encounter that they had, and they got back to the hotel, they told the coaches and staff. And on Friday, some of them left for Spokane, the others left on Saturday when hotel rooms were available in that city. I want to make it very clear and very loud that we condemn in the strongest terms those horrendous acts of hatred, and if the perpetrators can be found, we call upon them to be prosecuted. There is no place in our communities or in the United States of America for such horrific acts. These acts of hate are in counter to everything that we believe in and the values of Idahoans and the dignity for all persons. Although we have made progress in race relations in our country over the last few decades, particularly with federal laws and state laws, prejudice and hatred is still with us. Racism, as well as many other forms of bigotry, are still very much alive in the United States and around the world. This yet is another example to those individuals who claim incorrectly that racism is no longer a problem. They are wrong. We are witnessing a troubling growth of a very toxic environment in our country and locally by individuals and organized extremist groups to advance many forms of hatred by labeling others in our society as traitors, communists, vehemens, that suggests that some individuals in our society are not even human. These words and actions are creating a serious divide among people. We must speak out against this destructive trend at all times. Although free expression under the U.S. Constitution protects an individual displaying a Confederate flag on his or her vehicle, even though that is protected. The Confederate symbol sends a message to the minorities in our country that they are not welcome, especially in our beautiful city. And it does not permit the perpetrators to engage in verbal threats toward any person or group. The line has been crossed. There is clear evidence that such a toxic environment often leads to violence, as we witnessed during the Aryan Nations period in northern Idaho. When individuals engage in such behavior and language and racist words, they cannot excuse themselves if and when other individuals influenced by those words engage in violence. After the bombings in Coeur d'Alene in the 1980s by associates of the Aryan Nations, we were reminded what Governor John Evans said when he spoke at North Idaho College with these eloquent words: "To be tolerant of intolerance is to become a part of it," end of quote. Our task force for over 43 years has used our energies and resources to counter bigotry and prejudice in our area while promoting civil and human rights, diversity, inclusion, and social justice, the cornerstone of a democracy. Finally, we send our support to those wonderful women basketball players, their staff, and their universities, and let them know that they are special people, and we wish them the very best in life. With that, I want to introduce our next presenter, and I want to thank the city of Coeur d'Alene that we've worked with for many, many years. I see that former Mayor Steve Whitmire is here, and our mayor. They've always been very supportive of what we do, and they are 100% behind what we're trying to do here today. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce the mayor of Coeur d'Alene, Jim Hammond.
Good morning. First of all, thank you, Press Corps, for coming. It's very kind of you to be here. We needed to get a message out, and you're helping us do that. Thank you for that. For all the others that are here, thank you for coming to support and express concern for this issue that we're talking about this morning. Just as I came in the building this morning, Governor Little called, and he wanted to also share with all of you and the press how concerned he was about the actions that these folks did against some really wonderful people who are visiting our community. He's also going to put out a message of no hate. And so I very much appreciate that. It's the same reason that you're all here. You want to share that message. So I do have a prepared statement I'd like to go through. On behalf of the city of Coeur d'Alene and all of its community, and community is bigger than a city, I strongly condemn the appalling treatment of the female college athletes who were visiting Coeur d'Alene prior to the beginning of the basketball tournament in Spokane. To the Utah and Irvine universities, we express regret and true sorrow that your student athletes were treated with such disdainful treatment while visiting our city. Coeur d'Alene, as Tony mentioned, has a long history of fighting for and upholding human rights, civil rights, and dignity for all. We continue to be committed to those ideals, and we're intolerant of any form of harassment in our community. To the young women who endured racial slurs while visiting, I offer my most sincere apology. We, all of us, stand with you, we embrace you, we celebrate your accomplishments, and strongly denounce any malicious treatment toward you. In Coeur d'Alene, we are pledged to continue to work toward positive change. We believe that all should be treated with kindness, dignity, and respect. All. We wish those women much more joy and much more success as they finish their studies, and an even greater success beyond graduation. I want to share with you my frustration when I first learned of this incident Saturday. I'm a father and a grandfather, and over the years, when my children hurt or my grandchildren hurt, you can put a Band-Aid on a cut, or you just told them. And my biggest challenge was that I couldn't take those beautiful young ladies and hold them and embrace them and make that hurt go away. It should never happen. It's totally unacceptable. And I just want to tell those girls how much we love them, that we want to support them, and that that kind of behavior is totally unacceptable in our community. So God bless you all for coming, and I certainly wish those girls the best. And again, to all the press, thank you very much for coming here and helping us share that message. I appreciate it.
Before introducing the next speaker, I do want to recognize a few people. Christy Wood has been on our board many years, and she was the president, now she's the vice president. And it's a law enforcement background. She has been tremendously helpful in us putting this together today, and we will continue to pursue justice for those young people. I also want to introduce a professor from Gonzaga, Christine Hoover, who is, Christine? For years, she has been the director of the Gonzaga University Institute for Hate Studies. We work very closely with Gonzaga, and they issued a very important statement last night. And we have a major project to announce later with our task force in a partnership with Gonzaga, which is a great friend and is also an institution, a Jesuit institution that believes in social justice. And Christine, thank you for being here. In introducing our next presenter, I have something that most of you don't know about. In the mid-1980s, our organization, which was created in 1981, began a partnership with this corporation, the Hagedorn Hospitalities, working with Jerry Jager. For almost 40 years now, we've worked with this corporation and have had a lot of success in bringing to our city large conferences in which they were of great diversity, and they enriched us by coming. I want all of you to know, with no uncertain terms, how important this corporation has been in the support of justice and human rights, and let's thank them for doing that. One example was in the 1980s when Father Bill Wasmuth was our president. There was an organization that was deciding whether they would come here or not, and it was the Dean of Students from all colleges and universities in the Western United States. There were 800 of them. And one of the deans from from a college in California, UCLA, tried to keep them from coming. They did come. There were 800 of them, Bill. And Father Bill and I spoke to them, and we said to them that if you don't come, Richard Butler has a victory. If you come, you enrich us. And they were so happy. And then we've had others that we've worked with and over many years. And on their computers at this corporation, they have a history of what we do that they can send to bring groups here. Bill, we thank you very much. And Bill, the manager of the Coeur d'Alene Resort, among other duties he has, Bill Regan, is a wonderful friend, and he now will address you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Mayor, for the kind words. Thank you again, everybody, for being here. On behalf of the downtown business community, let me apologize for this terrible situation and incident. I want to apologize to the student athletes, to their staff, and to the host university, Gonzaga. These students had a right to walk downtown free of harassment. Don't let the actions of a few indict all of Coeur d'Alene. We stand united in not tolerating this type of behavior. On the side of every fire truck in the city of Coeur d'Alene are the words City of Excellence. We have an excellent task force tasked with educating the community on inclusiveness. We have an excellent mayor, city council, and staff who are willing to stand up against this type of behavior. We have an excellent police chief and department who have been investing time and resources to identify the responsible parties. Coeur d'Alene became an all-American city 30 years ago because of our stand against this. We remain united today. Thank you.
And before we take questions, one other item that we should share with you. We've been inundated this morning with phone calls from around the country. Later today, I will be doing some interviews, and I'll do some Zoom meetings, particularly with the TV station in Salt Lake City, in which we can send a message to those wonderful people that we are with them. And anything we can do to be supportive, we will. And I want to once again emphasize that these few radicals that are in our community who spew hate, you might spew the hate, but if you result in victims, we will try to prosecute you to the full extent of the law if we can find who you are. And with that, we'll open for questions. Please. Where is Chief White? Chief White, would you come? Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear it.
I was just told that you guys would be commenting on the matter in the press conference. I wasn't sure, what the status of the investigation is, if you guys have surveillance video, what you're looking into as far as the further investigation.
I think I can comment on a piece of that. For those who don't know me, my name is Lee White, W-H-I-T-E. I'm the police chief for the city of Coeur d'Alene. Our police department was contacted at approximately 10 p.m. on the 21st about an incident that had occurred approximately 4 hours earlier. It is reported that a vehicle drove by and several racial slurs were yelled by the occupants of the vehicles. At the time of the report, we were unable to speak to any of the potential victims of the incident, nor were we able to locate individuals who yelled the racial slurs. The Coeur d'Alene Police Department has an open case in this matter, and detectives are attempting to speak with any victims of this incident, but so far we don't know exactly who that may be. It was initially reported that there was approximately 100 people who were in the vicinity of the incident when it occurred. We are working cooperatively with our partners at the FBI, because there are federal statutes that may be appropriately charged based on what actually occurred. Once again, until we speak with the victims of this incident, excuse me, and some more witnesses, it's difficult for us to determine which state or federal statutes would be most applicable. I would like to say also that if you're a victim or a direct witness of this incident, you're encouraged to call the Coeur d'Alene Police Department. I'll give you that number real quick. That number is 208-769-2320. Our detectives are actively seeking video of the incident from various sources along the route that the individuals might have taken. And does that answer all your questions? Okay, thank you.
I should add that we work closely with law enforcement at all levels, and the U.S. Attorney for Idaho, Josh Hewitt, Christy and I met with him recently on another matter, not this, but he is also very dedicated as our law enforcement. We have a record that is very important in this community. In 1983 was our first case in court when a member of the Aryan Nations threatened a biracial couple in this community. He was prosecuted under a verbal assault law, and he was sent to prison. What you might not know, from 1983 until the present time, we have never lost a case in court in Kootenai County. That is a great record. Other questions, please? Yes?
I was curious about, do citizens in Kootenai County have to worry about their First Amendment rights being violated if you can't even cite which law may be violated in this case? Could you also explain how the Kootenai County Task Force on Human Relations has liaisons with the FBI and the Human Rights Education Institute under Jeanette Lasser proactively reported a Catholic grocery bar on June 11, 2022 to the FBI? Can you talk about that?
I can't speak for another organization, but I can certainly say to you, well, no, that we're two separate organizations with separate boards. And I'll just say this to you in a very direct way. We are here to protect citizens from violence and crime, and we will never stop. Next question.
You mentioned here in your statement that
No, they're not. That's a good question, but they had really good information, so we're based on that. And it's obvious what's happening with Gonzaga State and others. The incident did take place. Thank you. That's a good question.
So if this happened on the 21st, why did it take until now to kind of like release all the information and the statements and stuff like that? I mean, why does all this happen soon?
Another great question. What we have learned a long time ago as an organization, you get all the facts you can. And we have had all these days to work on this, and it was very difficult. And it's already been said, as the chief said, Chief White, we've not been able to talk to the victims directly. And so these processes, you want to make sure you have the facts correct. And so we have been working ever since Friday, and it's been a very, very major task to undertake. One thing our task force has always done is we make sure before we make certain statements that we have the facts, and it was very difficult. And there's still a lot to be done. That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that takes a lot. This is Northwest from Mayor Hammond. Since we're on the eve of, our forest season, how are you going to use a way so that people feel safe and secure, after these racist attacks?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so since we're kind of on the heels of, our forest season with this racial attack, how do you make sure that people feel comfortable and safe now coming for visiting?
Actually, I believe right now it is safe. This is an isolated incident. If you look over the history, I think from 2009, Chief, we've had less than one incident a year. So I feel very comfortable in saying this is a safe city in which to visit. But part of the reason that we will keep it safe is we will do everything we can to prosecute people who violate other people's rights.
Just another question. Have you offered a personal, sincere apology over phone call to either?
I reached out, as soon as I learned of this, the same night, I reached out to the University of Utah, to the president's office, and as of yet, I have not been able to get in touch with anybody. The only person that I've been able to talk to, that they have policemen assigned to each of the different teams, and he called me back, and I shared my concern with him and shared my apologies, but quite frankly, I want to do it with the team. I wanted to do it while they were still here, but they had already moved to Spokane, and I didn't want to be a distraction to their efforts in being a successful team in their tournament. I thought this just builds up more than that, and I thought I ought to leave them alone until the coaches or the athletic director decide they want to talk to us.
What law was broken? Can you cite a law that was broken?
Me?
Yes.
No, I cannot yet. It's under investigation.
But it was just verbal, correct?
Chief White.
I'm not saying just verbal, I mean, it was a horrible verbal comment, but that's what we're trying to figure out, is what law was broken.
There are a number of crimes we're investigating.
It was disgusting, but it was a verbal comment, I'm trying to figure out if it was physical assault as well.
I'll answer your question. There was a number of crimes that we are investigating currently. The first one is there's an Idaho statute regarding malicious harassment. The second one is a disorderly conduct statute. And then thirdly, there is a federal crime based on what actually occurred that evening that might be appropriate. Once again, until we get all the facts and the investigation is complete, what charge might actually be brought against the perpetrators is yet to be determined.
Just hold on.
Hold
up
on.
a second here.
We're taking, this is a question for the press.
This
This
is
is
a
a-
press
This
conference.
press with the media, not with the general public. Well, who are you with? Who are you with? Yes, it does. You're out of order. Okay. Now, let me say this. We're going to bring this press conference to a close.
Press conference. Thank you. We'll just say thank you very much.
Let me just say this. There is another law called the verbal assault law. This press conference is ended. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks, you media. Thank you all for coming. If any of you have individual questions, you can come up and talk to us. Yeah, he's
How are you?
I just wanted to introduce myself because I'm a fan.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
I get up in the morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I do my workouts, the aerobic part, I always watch your news. So,
Thank you.
I only see you on the screen.
But I'm real, I promise. I did have one quick question, and this is just kind of a follow-up. It doesn't have to be like official. We got word that also UC Irvine that moved. Was it something there, or we got word that it was 2 teams that moved? So it was.
Well, I think they both moved, but I think it was, they were all together. It was a very large group of folks that went, we don't even know what restaurant they went to yet, but it was a large group. And I think they intended to move anyway. Once some of the men moved on and were eliminated from the men's tournament, then they wanted to be in Spokane anyway, because that's where they'd want to practice at McCarthy Center, not at some high school or the college here.
Gotcha, perfect. That was the exact clarification I needed. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Let's see, Nathan, did you want to ask?
Yeah,
anything?
I was going to interview
Go ahead,
him
go
over
ahead.
there. Thanks. Do you just want to keep them sitting down?
Yeah, oh, that's fine.
Oh, you can keep sitting down?
No, I got a bad back. I need to sit down.
Put this in your pocket.
What you want to know about me?
I'll ask you questions.
Okay, good.
Put
My,
that.
my father was a sailor out at Farragut. My mother
Yeah.
was a businesswoman. I ran the law shop in North Idaho and 2nd and Wallace. My father had parents had the Kelly Insurance Agency on Sherman. You need to put it on. I'm all.
Tuck the cord inside a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to have you look at me. Yeah. What's your first last name? Can you spell it?
Cecil Kelly III. CECIL the third. 111.
Tell me a little bit first of all, why are you here today?
I saw it in the paper that this is a human rights meeting, and I've been involved in human rights in Coeur d'Alene for the last 40 years. I signed the affidavit that prevented Butler from putting his compound into a trust. I manned the human rights booth for 30 years. Just little things. I've written over 70 human rights letters to the Coeur d'Alene Press in the last 18 years. You know, just a little bit here, a little bit there. Do volunteer work down to Human Rights Educational Institute about once a week. Retired businessman.
Yeah. And then when you saw in the paper of the incident that happened, what was your reaction?
It's not the first time we've had something like this happen. We had a young black high school student threatened with a knife down here on Sherman about 30 years ago. His mother eventually became a judge here, and it happens. You know, I've had swastikas on my home. I've had animal feces put on my car, but that comes with the territory. You know, if you're going to be involved in human rights, you know you're going to take a hit every so often. I figure if they can't out-talk me, out-think me, or outright me, they'll try to intimidate me, and that doesn't work with me.
Were you surprised by the incident that happened this weekend?
No, I've seen Aryans marching on Sherman. I've heard enough hate speech in my time. I grew up in the 50s, and we had a lot more hate speech back then, a lot more bigotry in this town. It's eased up a lot.